a man ready to play along. But what's on the tape is pretty damning, and if it's true, it begs the question, how many gay men are serving in the Vatican? These images were captured by a hidden camera, and if they depict what one man alleges, it would mean major embarrassment for the Vatican. The tape was shot secretly by a young man who alleges Monsignor Tommaso Estenico, a high-ranking Vatican official, propositioned him at this meeting after they communicated in a gay internet chat room. It was shown on an Italian TV station. And the meeting took place right under the Pope's nose.
They arranged to meet in St. Peter's Square in the very shadow of the Pope's apartment, went up to the Monsignor's office, and where he apparently believed that there would be a sexual encounter.
And there is talk of sex on the tape. Estenico can be heard telling the young man he doesn't believe homosexuality is a sin, and that he knows many gay priests, some in the Vatican. That despite the fact just 2 years ago, the Vatican issued strict guidelines saying no man can be admitted to the church if he practices homosexuality or even just supports the gay culture.
I think the concern at the Vatican now is not just about what happened in this particular case, but what else is there that they don't know about? Is there more to come?
Monsignor Estenico would not comment to CNN, but he did tell an Italian newspaper he is not gay, and that he was just pretending to be gay to gather information about homosexuals and how they damage the image of the church.
The big picture here is I think this is a tremendous embarrassment for the church and certainly a tremendous embarrassment for the Vatican.
Now, it remains to be seen whether the Vatican will investigate others in its ranks or if this Monsignor is truly guilty. Sex scandals in the Catholic Church are not new, but never has one emerged so close to the Pope himself.
Carol, thank you for that. Carol Costello reporting. Let's check back with...
What he has claimed is that he is not actually a homosexual, that he was engaging in what he's described as an undercover investigation of his own, trying to unearth what he has described as a plot to harm the Catholic Church by playing on the vulnerabilities of gay priests. Now, this, of course, is an ex post facto justification, and it remains to be seen how much merit there is to it.
Sounds like he's taken a page out of the latest OJ news in the United States. I mean, people must be shaking their heads about this. How big of a problem is this for the Vatican?
Well, I think it's a major embarrassment. I mean, you know, obviously it's not news that there are homosexuals in the priesthood. 2 years ago, the Vatican put out a document saying that homosexuals should not be ordained, which was a response to a perception in many quarters that there is actually a disproportionate number of homosexuals in the priesthood. But I think what is remarkable about this story, Colleen, is that this took place inside this Monsignor's office, inside the walls of the Vatican itself. And I think that is a new level of brazenness that cannot help but be a major black eye for the Vatican in the court of public opinion.
It is so brazen. How did it all come to light? I mean, how did they track this down?
Well, basically, this is an Italian television network, Channel 7 in Italy, that got a young man to pose as a potential date. He went online in gay-oriented chat rooms and websites, and believe it or not, what he did is he looked for usernames that had the word priest in them, and then he would contact these guys to sort of play out the string and find out if they were, in fact, really priests. And if they were, then he arranged a physical meeting with them, brought along a hidden camera, and filmed the exchange. In the case of Monsignor Estenico, their names were not given, obviously. Their faces were disguised. Their voices were disguised. But in the case of Monsignor Estenico, the camera actually showed him getting into the elevator of the Vatican, and they showed the exterior of the door to his office. So it was no great leap of imagination to be able to identify who he was.
And another example of that brazenness you just talked about. I mean, to have the word priest actually in your username, and, you know, gosh, if you think about it long and hard enough, it almost lends credence to his explanation, because it's too bizarre.
Well, again, this is hardly the first time we've been down this road. I mean, there have been other cases of very senior church officials who were engaging in this kind of conduct and who were exposed. And in fact, it's not even the first time this has happened on church property. I think what is so shocking about it is that this happened inside the Vatican, inside this man's own office, and of course the fact that it is coming on the heels of very public statements by the church in Italy and elsewhere having to do with the church's moral opposition to homosexuality. Just makes this all the more explosive and I would say almost surreal.
Yeah, there is an investigation underway, as we've pointed out. But if it is found to be true, what are the likely consequences here?
Well, there are two elements. One is his future as a Vatican official, which I would say is not long for this world. And then the other is what will happen to him as a priest. He's been suspended as an official of the Vatican, and I'm sure his career is at an end. But it will now pertain to his local bishop to investigate whether or not he has actually violated his vows of celibacy and exposed the church to scandal, and if so, whether or not he will be able to continue as a priest. And there, I think it's probably premature to speculate about what might happen, but I think you can be sure he's certainly not going to play any public role for the church. And I think we should say, Colleen, adding to the brazenness here, this was not an anonymous Vatican official. I mean, this Monsignor Estenico had a television program on an Italian Catholic TV network. He had a regular radio program. He's published dozens of books. I mean, he was a public figure.
Yeah, quite a star, really.
And that just makes this, again, the eyebrow-raising factor here is just off the charts.